Maybe I am crazy, because I'm going to sit down and rank all 42 episodes of Stranger Things. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So with Stranger Things having come to a close after 5 seasons, we have 42 episodes of the show, and I rewatched them all leading up to season 5, and then of course watched season 5 when it came out, and have seen the episodes multiple times at this point. So it is time for my ultimate ranking of every single Stranger Things episode from worst to best, or as I prefer, least favorite to favorite. Now I'll say up front, I'm not going to spend tons of time talking about every single one of these episodes, because if you're watching this video, chances are you've seen them, you know what the episode entails and what all goes down. So I'll be detailing my top 10 a lot more, but I am still gonna rattle off a couple of things that happen real fast for a lot of these episodes. Before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below your ranking of every Stranger Things episode, or just your handful of favorite episodes of the show, and of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of now 200,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means quite a bit. And if you want extra content from the world of Stranger Things and beyond, Patreon is the place to be. Lots of fun things coming soon over there with reaction content that you won't want to miss out on. But without further ado, it is time to rank these episodes. In last place, dead last at number 42, no surprise to anyone, is Season 2, Episode 7, The Lost Sister. I've said my piece about this episode. It's the clear outlier of the show, the black sheep, the episode that feels the least Stranger Thingsy of them all, and in a sense kind of feels like an attempt at setting up a spin-off that never came to fruition. Even though Kali came back in season 5, what they did with her character didn't do enough to right the wrongs of this episode existing, and unfortunately it will forever be the stain on Stranger Things in my mind. At number 41, just above that, I've got season 3, episode 2, The Mallrats. This is the second episode of the 3rd season, and I want to make it clear, the gap between the rest of these episodes and The Lost Sister is huge. With this episode, I still enjoy the hell out of it. There's a lot of fun moments to be had. You get the whole Material Girl montage at the mall with Eleven and Max, which of course leads to the I dump your ass moment.
I dump your ass.
Jancy start their journalistic investigations, and of course you got a drunk Hopper at Enzo's, but in my mind it's probably the least memorable episode in terms of major events in all of season 3. Above that at number 40, I've got season 3, episode 1, Susie Do You Copy? This of course introduces the summer fun vibe of this season. The colors are popping, you got the gang setting up Cerebro, and there is a lot of silly flirtatious moments between Billy and Karen, which are always a bit weird in retrospect. So this is a solid season premiere, but it's definitely the weakest of the 5 season premieres. At number 39, I've got season 3, episode 3, The Case of the Missing Lifeguard. I know it seems like I'm coming out crapping on season 3. That's not the case. I still highly enjoy this season. I just think on rewatch, the first 3 episodes of that season in particular probably are the slowest moving batch of episodes in the entire show. In this episode, Will destroys Castle Byers. We get some more L-Max moments as they pull up on dinner at Tom's house, and it's right before the ball gets rolling on the main plot of season 3. Those first 3 episodes are fun. I would still watch them all right now in succession with no problems. It's just they really do take their time to get the plot moving. At number 38, I've got season 5, episode 7, The Bridge. And this episode is just a lot of setup. It almost felt like they had to check the boxes leading up to the series finale, and I can't blame them, right? We got the whole Will coming out scene here. You've got the entire sequence where the final mission for the show is laid out, and you had to lay the groundwork for all that so you could just hit the ground running in the finale. I understand it. This episode exists to, again, check those boxes and acts as setup for the epic emotional finale, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the opening minutes here where we finally get the emotionally moving Lumax reunion that left me in tears. It was beautifully handled. At number 37, I've got season 4, episode 3, The Monster and the Superhero. Most of this episode focuses on Dr. Owens getting 11 on board. We do get some moments with the Russia storyline where it's like Murray and Joyce making their way to Alaska, but it's still early on in season 4. There's tons of mystery around Vecna, and the season is still finding its footing. With the Hawkins crew, it's where we see them find Miss Kelly's files, and ultimately the episode ends with Max seeing the grandfather clock, letting us know she's going to be one of Vecna's targets. At number 36 on my list, I've got season 2, episode 3, The Polywog. This is the episode where Dustin brings Dart to school. It ends with Will getting possessed in the field, and there's some sweet Hopper and Elle flashbacks with them cleaning up the cabin and basically them growing a father-daughter bond. At number 35, I've got season 4, episode 2, Vecna's Curse. This episode gives us Hopper's flashbacks, seeing how he survived and how he ended up in Russia. We get a lot of Fred and Nancy on their journalism kick as they're trying to find find the truth about what's going on with Vecna. Ultimately, Fred dies in this episode. And there's some Rinkomania madness with the California storylines. This, of course, is where Elle pops Angela in the nose with a roller skate, and I can't say I was mad about it. Of course, the final shot is when we see Vecna in the Creel house. At number 34, I've got Season 5, Episode 6, Escape from Camazotz. The opening of this episode is still a thrill for me. It gives us one of the biggest reveals of the entire show, as the Upside Down is revealed to be a wormhole or bridge that connects the right side up, aka Hawkins, to the abyss where Vecna's at. We also get the Jancy breakup scene in this episode, the hospital showdown with all the demos, and Karen Wheeler pulling up, and it ends with Holly and Max running up that hill to escape Camazotz. I think this is an underappreciated, underrated episode from Volume 2. At number 33, I have Season 3, Episode 5, The Flayed. This episode opens with the Joyce drive moment, perhaps my most quoted scene in all of Stranger Things, and it sets up the hospital fight at the very end as the Tom and Bruce monster takes form and roars. Very strong episode from Season 3. At number 32, I have Season 2, Episode 4, Will the Wise. This is where we get the "You are like Papa" line, which has become one of the most quoted moments in all of Stranger Things, as Elle and Hopper have a bit of a rocky relationship here.
You are like Papa!
Jonathan and Nancy, or Jancy, get a tape recording that has evidence that's incriminating that they go to take to Murray in this episode. It's also where we see Will drawing the tunnels because of his connection to the hive mind, and it ends with Hopper in the tunnels. One of my favorite shots in the whole show is the camera slowly turns upside down, revealing Hopper to be in the tunnels. At number 31, I've got Season 1, Episode 2, The Weirdo on Maple Street, the second ever episode of the show. The memorable highlights of this episode, of course, include Steve's entire party, where Barb goes missing as the credits roll. Other than that, it's just Elle getting acquainted with the gang as the show itself finds its footing. At number 30, I've got Season 5, Episode 2, The Vanishing of Holly Wheeler. What an insane cold open. Maybe the best of the entire series, as we see the Demogorgon pull up at the Wheeler house and basically kill Ted. He somehow survives, and then Karen gets worked, but not before she does some damage to that thing with a broken wine bottle. This, of course, results in Holly getting taken to the Upside Down, and then the major reveal at the end of this episode is when we find out that Mr. What's-It is, in fact, Henry Creel. It's a very strong episode from Season 5 that has the best cold open, arguably, in the entire show. At number 29, I've got Season 1, Episode 4, The Body. This is where Will is able to actually talk to Joyce and tells her to run. She axes her wall in this episode. And of course, Hopper cuts open the fake body of Will, ultimately leading to him heading to Hawkins' lab to do some investigating of his own. This is where the mystery really kicks in Season 1. At number 28, I have Season 5, Episode 1, The Crawl, the premiere of Season 5, that seamlessly fills us in on the last 18 months of what's been going on in Hawkins in the world of the show via a Rock and Robin radio broadcast. We get lots of fun moments with the OG party, like them putting all their hands in the middle, vying to work together on this one last mission, and it ends with the crawl sequence or final mission and Hopper in the Upside Down, setting the stakes for the final season. At number 27, I've got Season 2, Episode 5, Dig Dug. This is where Elle visits her mom, Terry Ives, and we get this flashback explaining why Terry Ives is the way she is and the meaning behind all of the different words that she constantly mumbles. Bob helps Will and company map out the tunnels here, and at the very end of the episode, we see Will writhing in pain as he is directly impacted by the flames that have hit the tunnels, as he is a part of the hive mind now. At number 26, I have Season 4, Episode 5, The Nina Project, which gives us Hopper's prison monologue, one of my favorite monologues that Stranger Things has to offer, and usually they're associated with the character Hopper. He's so well written. The Hawkins crew goes into the Creel house to investigate. It's very Scooby-Doo, and Elle starts to relive some past memories in the Nina Project facility. It actually ends with her having a brief pulse of powers again, showing that this experiment is actually working. At number 25, I've got Season 2, Episode 1, Mad Max. This, of course, is the Season 2 premiere that introduces us to Max, Billy, Bob, and Murray, all characters who had a huge impact on Stranger Things. Will experiences some now memories, seeing the Mind Flayer multiple times, and at the very end, Eleven is revealed to be at Hopper's cabin hiding out. The score that plays at the end when Elle and Hopper are together, called 8:15, beautiful piece of music, one of the more underrated tracks in all of Stranger Things. At number 24, I've got Season 1, Episode 5, The Flea and the Acrobat. This is where Hopper finds out that his house is bugged, and of course, the main scene here that really has all the meat on the bone is when Mr. Clark explains basically how the Upside Upside Down works without knowing it to the main party as he uses the Flea and the Acrobat story. It's also where Elle redirects the compasses of everyone in the gang, basically making them go in a circle because she's afraid of going back to Hawkins' lab. At number 23, I've got Season 5, Episode 3, The Turnbow Trap. This episode was a thrill. I still get a kick out of the entire Turnbow Trap sequence that leads to tagging a Demogorgon, and at the very end, it's where Max pulls up and is revealed to be in Camazotz as Holly is exploring what's out there. It instantly became an iconic moment, and this is one of my favorite episodes as a whole from the newest and final season. At number 22, I have Season 1, Episode 7, The Bathtub. This, of course, is the penultimate episode of Season 1 that opens with the whole van flip, easily one of the more iconic moments, not only from Season 1, but the show as a whole. And this is the episode where 11 comes in contact with Will inside the void, and ultimately the episode ends with Will in Castle Byers in the Upside Down as the Demogorgon breaks in. Well, now we've seen the continuation of that in a moment that's been recontextualized thanks to Season 5 in the cold open of Season 5, so I appreciate this episode even more now because of it. At number 21, I have Season 3, Episode 6, E Pluribus Unum, a highly underrated episode. We open with the hospital fight as 11 pulls up to save the day, but the standout here is the ending when Billy is talking to 11, and we realize in retrospect that it's basically Vecna talking through Billy to 11 as this eerie operatic music plays. Full body chills every time and sets the stage for the last 2 episodes of Season 3 really, really well. At number 20, I've got Season 4, Episode 6, The Dive. This, of course, is where the gang goes to Lover's Lake after plotting at Skull Rock, and it ends with the major cliffhanger of Steve in the Upside Down getting tied up and bit up by demobats. The Duffers are sick and twisted for that one, and it's just one of many examples of them trying to fake us out with a Steve death. At number 19, I have Season 1, Episode 6, The Monster. This gives us one of the first truly awesome moments in the show that has stood the test of time, and is the first image we see as the credits roll on the finale of the whole show. It's the she's our friend, she's crazy moment at the quarry where Elle pulls up to save the day, and then her, Dustin, and Mike share this hug. That image has become one of the most instantly recognizable in all Stranger Things, and like I said, is the first image that plays when the credits roll in the series finale. At number 18, I have Season 2, Episode 2, Trick or Treat Freak. This episode's grown on me over time. We get to see Halloween in Hawkins. Not only do we have Steve in the Halloween party with Billy and Nancy saying bull, but you've also got the kids going trick-or-treating as the Ghostbusters. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Max scares the hell out of them as she's dressed as Michael Myers, and Hopper further investigates rotting pumpkins. It's an episode that I want to watch every Halloween for the rest of time. Number 17 is going to be Season 1, Episode 1, the series premiere, The Vanishing of Will Byers. Of course, the cold open is iconic as a random lab worker goes missing, and then Will goes missing post-D&D campaign. It screams 80s, and it's the episode that hooked us all into this show as 11 comes into contact with the boys in the woods as the credits roll. At number 16, I have Season 4, Episode 1, The Hellfire Club. This is, of course, the Season 4 premiere, and the scene that really makes this episode as high as it is the D&D campaign as a part of Hellfire Club occurring simultaneously with the basketball game. Detroit Rock City plays over top. It's just one hell of a needle drop, and of course, the episode ends with Vecna being introduced as he brutally kills Chrissy, setting the darker, horror-centric tone of this season. At number 15, I've got Season 3, Episode 7, The Bite. This is the penultimate episode of Season 3 that contains one of the sweetest scenes in the entire show, so well written and has a warmth to it. That, of course, being the scene where Robin comes out to Steve, and without missing a beat, he accepts her, he loves her, he creates a safe space, and basically embraces her as they are best friends now. We also have the showdown at Hopper's cabin with the physical form Mind Flayer biting Elle's leg. Smirnoff dies here. It's really one of the most underrated deaths on the show. It's so sad. And at the very end, the kids and teens meet up at Starcourt, but not everyone's there just yet as Hopper and company are on the way, and we'll get that in the Season 3 finale. At number 14, I've got Season 5, Episode 4, Sorcerer. This is the end of Volume 1 that, of course, culminates with that epic moment of Will Byers tapping into the hive mind and channeling Vecna's powers, using them to destroy 3 Demogorgons that are about to get to his friends. It was epic. It was one of the standout moments of Season 5, and it, of course, occurred after the already insane Max Z massacre. So this episode was action-packed and gave fans a moment they'll never forget as Will used powers for the first time in the show. But above that, at number 13, I have Season 5, Episode 5, Shock Jock. I love this episode, and I think it is one of the most underappreciated of the newest season. It kickstarts Volume 2, and it culminates with the gang Frankensteining a Demogorgon so that Will can tap into the hive mind and then take control of Vecna for a brief minute in order to free Max and Holly. This is where the run moment comes from. Frank Darabont directs the hell out of it. It's also an episode that includes the whole reveal of Henry Creel's blood being being used to create 11 and Kali. So there's tons of lore reveals here, and it ends with Nancy shooting the exotic matter in the sky. It set the tone for the back half of this season and was filled with some insane moments for me. At number 12, I have season 4, episode 8, Papa. To me, this is one of the forgotten episodes of the show because of what 2 episodes it's sandwiched in between, but it gives us the California crew reuniting with 11 as she blows up the helicopter and we see Papa die finally in a satisfying way. It's also an episode that features Vecna putting Nancy under a trance and basically giving her this vision that she later relays to the rest of our characters. And of course, in this episode, we also see the final epic moments that tee up the cinematic finale as our gang is in the RV pulling up to the Creel house as separate ways the epic remix plays. I will never forget the final moments of this episode. They are burned into my brain forever as one of my favorite endings to a Stranger Things episode. At number 11, I've got season 3, episode 4, the sauna test. This gives us 11 versus Billy in the sauna showdown to end it. What an epic moment early on in this season as our gang is working collaboratively to take down Billy for the time being. I mean, the final 15 minutes alone carries so much weight that that's all I even need to yap about. The sauna test sequence, top tier Stranger Things. Now we're getting into my top 10, and before I do, hit that like button and comment down below your top 10 favorite episodes in all of Stranger Things. And feel free to follow me on Instagram for more behind the scenes content and reels. At number 10, I've got season 1, episode 8, The Upside Down. This is the season 1 finale. We get Steve's bat flip, the whole showdown at the Byers house. We get the emotionally satisfying moment of Will being rescued by Joyce and Harbour as When It's Cold I'd Like to Die plays. And this episode works really well because it could have ended Stranger Things as we know it. Initially, it was planned to be a one and done, and the finale ties up all the loose ends while still leaving some ambiguity out there regarding maybe Eleven's fate, for example, but it is such a perfect conclusion to this first season, and when Elle does sacrifice herself for that demo in the moment, at least that's what it seemed like, right? It was just pulled off without a hitch. This is a classic episode of the show. And speaking of season 1, my number 9 episode is season 1, episode 3, Holly Jolly. This is my highest rated episode from season 1 because it's the moment in the episode that fully sold me on this show. It ends with Will's fake body being discovered in the quarry. Peter Gabriel's rendition of Heroes plays. Like, it's devastating, but there's a sense of hope as well. It's beautifully tragic in a sense, and it's one of my favorite needle drops in the entire show. It's also the episode where Joyce sets up the Christmas lights and is able to first communicate with Will. This is where Stranger Things took off, kicked it into another gear, and in my mind, this is really where the show was born and became the legend that it is today, in episode 3 of season 1, Holly Jolly. At number 8 on my list, I've got season 2, episode 6, The Spy. In many ways, you can view this as the penultimate episode. If you skip The Lost Sister, it kind of sets up the 2-part conclusion in episodes 8 and 9 of season 2. But this episode, of course, gives us Steve in the junkyard facing off against some demodogs. In fact, it's really the episode where Steve and Dustin as a duo is truly born. You get the Jancy kiss here as the score swells. There's this nostalgic feeling that rises up inside me and almost eats away at me. It's so beautiful. Will ends up spying for Vecna at the end with the whole "it's a trap" moment, and the demodogs converge on Hawkins' lab, hitting us with a major cliffhanger ending. But in retrospect, knowing the context of season 5 and Will's truly deep connection to the hive mind, this episode bears a lot of importance on the overall show and carries a lot of weight. It had to be in my top 10. Speaking of season 2, next up on my list at number 7, I've got the season 2 finale, The Gate. This episode opens with the whole Steve-Billy showdown. You got the funny moment with Max driving them around, but you also have Harbour and 11 going to the Mother Gate and closing the gate. And on their drive out there, you got some sweet moments between the two of them. It's where Harbour kind of opens up about Sarah. Elle ultimately is able to close the gate, and you have the epilogue that gives us the snowball. Such a sweet, sentimental moment, one of the more nostalgic of the entire series, and really does bring a perfect close to the second season of the show. But my favorite episode from season 2 is actually season 2, episode 8, The Mind Flare. This is the true penultimate episode of the season. We open full steam ahead at Hawkins' lab, ultimately leading to Bob's death at the hand of some demodogs, and then we go back to the Byers house. Everyone's kind of gathering themselves, but they have Will there tied up in the shed. He doesn't know where he is, and this is where he's able to use Morse code to relay to them the message, "Close gate." It's a great callback to earlier in the season, and of course, at the very end of the episode, all of our characters are in the Byers house, ready for the demodogs to swarm them, and who shows up? 11. It's iconic. It's one of the moments from the show, full body chills every time, and it's rare that we get to see all of our characters in one moment like that. It is a standout moment, not only in season 2, but in the entire series as a whole. Getting into my top 5, at number 5, I have season 3, episode 8, The Battle of Starcourt. This has been my favorite episode of the show in the past. That goes to show how powerful this show is and how many awesome episodes there are. This, of course, contains maybe my favorite sequence, the most emotional in the entire show, as at the very end, 11 reads Hopper's letter. Hopper is dead, in her eyes and in our eyes, and so she's learning to move on from that, and just the words in that letter are so relevant in life. And if you ever feel like you're in a dark place, you need motivation, just go read that letter, and you will be hit with this wave of like feel-good energy, like you can conquer anything in the world. Of course, we have the whole Battle of Starcourt here with the physical form Mind Flayer and Billy's sacrifice. There's some picturesque, beautiful moments with the fireworks going off all around, and we do lose Hopper here, we think, in a tragic moment, but it still functions really well. And to me, much like the season 1 finale, the season 3 finale could have ended the show as we know it, because it was so definitive in a sense. It's just another one of those elite finales in Stranger Things. My next episode, episode 4, is another season finale. It's the series finale, season 5, episode 8, The Right Side Up. This gave me everything I wanted and then some, all right? Controversy, if I should even call it that, or divisiveness online aside, in the moment watching this, I loved it. Having seen it again and, you know, having my own opinion, because we all can form our own opinions, I still love this episode. It gave me everything I wanted with regard to the epic moments as we see this Mind Flayer vs. 11 showdown that then leads to the gang inflicting damage on the hive mind while 11 fights Vecna. Badass. You've also got the emotional epilogue that ties a bow on every single character's story, relationship, and arc. And I love the ambiguity of it all in the very end, as you can choose to believe if 11 is dead or alive, but no matter what you choose, our gang has to accept it and move on. And so in a sense, they have this one final game of D&D. They walk up those stairs and close the door on childhood and close the door on this chapter of their life and this show, but they'll always have the memories. They'll always have the stories to tell, and in a way, the legacy lives on through Holly, right? There's always going to be another adventure. There's always going to be another party. They have to move on in life. We do too, but they'll always have the stories to tell, and they'll always believe. It's such a poetic, beautiful ending, and I couldn't have asked for a more perfect conclusion, in my opinion, to the series. I was so satisfied and just wept as the credits rolled, because this was the end of a 10-year journey, and the Duffers knocked it out of the park with the writing, in my personal opinion. At number 3 on my list, I've got the season 4 finale, episode 9, The Piggyback. This is the longest episode of the show. It is a true movie, and it's featured with epic moment after epic moment, right? Eddie playing Master of Puppets. The final operatic score as all of our characters look off on the hillside as Hawkins bleeds into the Upside Down. It's got those movie moments, but you also have the smaller character moments that hit as well, right? Max dies, and that rips your heart out, but she's able to come back. Eddie dies. It was finally his year, or was it? I mean, it's just so devastating. The stakes are felt because we do lose characters. In a sense, the heroes lose here, and that's kind of what makes it the Empire Strikes Back, the Infinity War of it all. It sets up the epic final season so well, delivers on all these emotional moments, and we get the Running Up That Hill epic remix that plays while Hopper beheads a Demogorgon, while our characters are throwing Molotov cocktails at Vecna in the Creel house. That is a standout moment to me that I could watch any day of the week and never get sick of it. This is an all-time episode of the show. I have to have it as my favorite season finale, and it is one of the top 3 episodes of Stranger Things to me because of just the sheer scale, and it really is impressive after watching season 5. No shot to season 5, but it made me realize how impressive season 4 was, as it balanced the epic and emotional moments with long runtimes, and it never felt like a drag. I mean, season 4 is a spectacle, truly a special season of TV, and this episode caps it off wonderfully. My runner-up in second place is season 4, episode 4, Dear Billy, directed by Sean Levy. You know, arguably the best moment of the entire show occurs in the final 20 minutes as Max evades Vecna because of running up that hill. She escapes. It is thrilling, pulse-pounding. I was on my feet screaming the first time I watched it. It is the moment from Stranger Things. Like, if I were to take one clip from the show and pitch it to somebody, like, you have to watch Stranger Things, I'm showing them Max running up that hill. On top of that, in the Russia storyline, you do have Hopper with his prison break, so there's some movement over there. And in the California storyline, you have the one-take shootout scene that's so well directed. So every storyline has a highlight moment. It really is like right when the season hit its full stride, and it's the moment that, again, I would use to sell Stranger Things to someone if I had to just pick one scene. It's running up that hill from Dear Billy. What a perfect episode this is. But my number 1 episode of Stranger Things, the best, that contains some of the most groundbreaking revelations, has to be season 4, episode 7, The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab. This is the finale of volume 1. It is the episode that culminates with this jaw-dropping reveal that Vecna is one and also Henry Creel. It intertwines so wonderfully as we have Elle reliving these memories through the Nina Project, and then you have Nancy getting explained Vecna's backstory in her trance, so everything kind of layers together wonderfully to create this insane revelation to end the season. It literally recontextualized everything we thought we knew about Stranger Things up to that point in time, making for truly an astounding reveal that, again, had me shook. I had no words as the credits rolled in this episode. On top of that, you got lots of other standout moments here as well. With Russia, Hopper and the Demogorgon fight happens with the lit on fire spear as the Demogorgon's just massacring everyone in this little one-take scene. You have the sick shot of the kids in Hawkins riding their bikes, and then the camera going upside down to reveal the older teens riding their bikes in the upside down. Bada bada boom happens. Nancy falls into a trance here. It's got highlight moment after highlight moment, and it all comes together so well in the insane, mind-blowing reveal, frankly, of Vecna's true identity. This framed the show differently, changed it for the better, and took it to a whole nother level that I didn't even know was possible, making it not only the most important episode of the show, but I think the best, and probably my favorite of the bunch as well. But that is my ranking of all 42 episodes of Stranger Things, including season 5. Let me know in the comments down below your ranking if you're up to the task, or just give me your top 10 or favorite episodes in general. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and be on the lookout for some more Stranger Things videos coming very soon. I can get into some rankings for sure, but that's going to do it. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the other side of the Upside Down.